Hi, Larry Smith for LaRoVideo Productions here. Today's video gives information about a low-cost portable rifle sight-end bench. If you have the proper tools, the actual work for this project will only take a few hours. However, there is a gluing step that requires 24 hours drying time. I recommend a good miter saw, a 90 and a 45 degree angle standard, a hand drill with a 5/8 inch wood bit, a 1/4 inch metal bit, and a pilot bit for the wood screws, some clamps, and the tools necessary to tighten the screws and the bolts. The design of this bench is relatively simple, and you can modify it for your personal needs if necessary. The dimensions given in the narration are intended to produce a bench with seat height 18 inches and bench top height of 30 inches. You may want to add some materials like paint or padding on the seat to improve the overall look and feel, but the list of required materials is 1 straight 2x6 pine board 10 foot long, 1 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood approximately 2 foot square, 2 1/4 by 20 bolts at least 3 inches long, 4 1/4 inch flat washers, 2 1/4 by 20 nuts, 1 box of 2-inch wood screws, and some wood glue. The actual width of a so-called 2x6 is approximately 5.5 inches. The first cut will convert the end of the 2x6 from a 90 degree to a 45 degree angle. Set up your miter saw to make 45 degree cuts as shown here. Measure along the side of the 2x6 and mark at 40 3/16 inches. Using the 45 degree angle of your square, draw a line across the board, then cut to form a parallelogram. Next, measure along the side of the 2x6 and mark at 22 7/16 inches. Cut the board to form another parallelogram. Measure along the angle cut of one end of the long brace. Mark at 5.5 inches. Use the 90 degree angle of your square to draw across the end. With the miter saw at a 45 degree angle, cut off the end. Repeat this process for both ends of the short brace. Adjust your miter saw for 90 degree cuts and trim the angled end of the remaining piece. Measure 18 inches along the 2x6 and draw a line at 90 degrees across. Cut that piece for the seat. Repeat that process for the long foot. Adjust your miter saw for 45 degree cuts and trim the end of the 2x6. Adjust your miter saw for 90 degree cuts and trim the angled end of the 2x6. You should have a piece that is relatively short, approximately 10 inches, with 90 degree cuts on both ends. Now would be a good time to cut the 4 larger triangle pieces in half. forming 8 medium-sized triangles. Find the center of the short brace and draw a 90-degree line across the center. Confirm that it is equidistant from both ends. Then measure 2 3/4 inches from that center line on both sides and draw 2 more lines. Repeat this process on the long brace using the center distance found on the short brace. Measure and mark the center line for the seat, the long foot, and the short foot. Visualize the overlap of the 2 braces as a square and mentally divide that into 4 smaller squares. Find the center of the 2 diagonally opposite squares and mark. At this point, you should have all of the wood pieces. The bench top should be about 2 foot by 2 foot, but it is not critical. You have the long brace, the short brace, the seat, the long foot, the short foot, 8 medium triangular pieces, and 3 smaller triangular pieces. Using a 1/4 inch bit, drill through the brace that's marked. Use other wood pieces to hold the 2 braces off the floor. Align the 2 braces and partially tighten at least 1 clamp to hold them in place, with the pre-drilled brace on top. Check for square and confirm that the bottoms of the braces form a straight line, then tighten the clamps. Use the pre-drilled holes as guides and drill through both braces. Using a 5/8 inch wood bit, drill into the outside edges of both braces about 1/8 of an inch to make room for the washers and the wing nuts. Check to make sure that the braces, bolts, washers, and wing nuts fit together properly. Mark the inside of both braces. Measure 3/4 of an inch to one side of all center lines on the seat, the long foot, and the short foot, and draw a line to be used as the center line for the wood screw pilot holes. Drill at least 2 pilot holes for the wood screws in each of the short foot, the long foot, and the seat. Turn to the side opposite of the lines. Countersink all wood screw holes on all 3 pieces to a depth of 1/2 inch. Attach the short foot to the long brace with 3 wood screws. Attach the long foot and the seat to the short brace with 3 wood screws each. Reassemble the 2 braces using the 1/4-inch bolts, washers, and wing nuts. Coat the sides of the medium triangles that form a 90-degree angle generously with wood glue. Place a triangle in each of the corners formed by the braces, the footers, and the seat. While waiting for the glue to dry, you can prepare the bench top. Measure the exact width of the bench top. Mark the center and draw a line. Measure 3/4 of an inch from the center line on the side where the long brace will be, and draw another line. After the glue has dried, the 2 braces should look like this. You'll notice that I used 2 of the smaller triangles to extend the flat surface made by the top of the long brace. Measure and mark where you intend to place wood screws through the bench top. Drill the pilot holes through the bench top. Attach the bench top to the long brace using wood screws. At this point, all of the required work is finished. You may want to stain or paint the bench, but it is ready for use. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that you find the information useful. Be sure to visit our website to find our other videos. You can also subscribe to the LaRoVideo YouTube channel. Click on the like button if you like a video, and leave comments or suggestions. We definitely appreciate the feedback. Until next time.